Go. Hello, my name is Eric Compagnoni Andrade de Almeida,
And I'm Allison.
and we're the MineTest team. So today I'm gonna be going over the project walkthrough. So the work that we've been doing for this project is mainly separating the class and testing it. So what does that mean? We have two APIs right now, the Lua and the native one. The Lua was already pre-existing code that we're changing, and the native we're coding from scratch. So what we're doing is we're going into the Lua API and we're saving C++ code and creating a native version that's pretty much fully C++ so that we can later cut Lua completely from the game engine and just work on C++. So after that, we write mods in Lua to test the files, the native versions and the Lua versions, and make sure that they have the same functionality. And then that's pretty much it for the work that we're doing. And so for the plans for future features right now, we're gonna keep working on separating the classes. And once we're done with all of the classes on the game engine, we're gonna cut Lua completely. And for the test plans, we have a test suite that was written. There's a server test file that invokes all of the classes at the same time. And you can see the results in this dump.txt file. Um, you can also test individual methods or individual classes at the same time, the Lua and the native versions. And these are all registered commands that can be run in the game chat. And then the results get printed out on the dump.txt. So now I'm going to show how that works. So first for the class separation, you can see here, this is the MineTest for script. You have the Lua and the native API. So for the Lua, we have the L underscore and then class name files. So we have these two. So this is a voxel manipulator class that I was working on. It pretty much reads big chunks of the map and lets you alter it faster. So it had these methods originally, the Lua ones, and what we're doing for the Lua API, we're making the Lua underscore native versions, which are these ones. And here on the C.cpp, you can see an example, the read from map. You have all of the Lua code here and C++ as well on the original version. And then on the L underscore native, you have the Lua code and what was C++ gets sent to the native version on the native API. So that's how we're doing the separation. And this pretty much goes on for all of the methods in the class. And then here at the end, you can see all of the methods being registered with the Lua version and the native version. So for the native API, this is what a class would look like. It's pretty much the same thing. It just has the native versions of the methods. So you can see the native read from map is here, the one that was called on this file. So this is the pure C++ code, and it just returns whatever and the original one did. And then that's how we're separating the C++ code that was on the original API and making the native one so that later we can get rid of the Lua one and then just rebuild the native API with whatever we already have. And so for the tests, this is what a test file would look like. It's a vmanip is a class name and then a .lua. And what we have is a Lua test. For each method, we have a Lua test, a native test, and a comparison test. So the Lua just tests the original functionality, the native tests or versions functionality, and the comparison just makes sure that they're doing the same thing. So this is a vmanip write to map. It's pretty much just reading a position like a cube in front of the player on the map, and then just changing it to be a dirt cube. So I can demonstrate that working right now in game. Uh, Here we're in a server with the test enabled. So if I write Lua vmanip write to map and run it, you can see the cube spawns. So this is the Lua functionality. I can do the same thing and run the native now, and it does the same thing. So you can see the success messages on the chat. And then I can also run the test one. that should spawn 2 cubes, a dirt and a stone one. And then you can see they spawn. That means the Lua and the native versions are working the same way. They spawn a cube. So that's pretty much what the test is doing. And then the results go to a dump.txt file, and you can check the entire class results there if you want to run the entire test. So I'm gonna stop sharing now.
All right, and I will continue off to show what I was doing. So I worked on the util class, and it's mostly a utility class with a bunch of various functions like logging and like converting files, checking password hashes, getting paths in the file system, just general utility. And so as you can see, for each of these, there's the original Lua, and then there's the version I wrote, which is the native version. And in the actual file, we have the mixed Lua and C++ code. And here is the trimmed down version where this is all Lua, and all the C++ code is being funneled into this native version right here. And it's calling all the stuff that would have been called in the mixed version and returning what it's supposed to. And this is being done for all of the methods in the class. And so to show an example of the test running, so here's my test file with 3 tests per method, where each of them tests a Lua, a native, and a comparison version. And so here we're in the world, and then I could test these separately. So parse JSON to success, right? And what it does is it calls the .parse JSON function and tries to parse this sort of JSON. And if all of these items match what we expect, then I change the result to true. And then if true, then I print success. All right. And slash native util parse JSON is the native version, and it says success as well. And so this will test the native underscore parse JSON version, which is yeah, and then also test the same comparison. And then test util parse JSON tests both, and it says success, both executed. So this tests both of them separately and then compares the results. And this just makes the testing process faster and smoother. And so at the end, we can test all of the class functions at once by using slash test and then the class name. And it says util test completed, see server dump.txt for details, which I have open right here. This is in the worlds folder of the specific world they're testing. And so, yeah, as you can see, I have 21 functions, and each of them has 3, one Lua, one native, one test version, and all 63 passed. And yeah, that's the testing process. And so some issues and strategies. So the main issues is we're missing work from previous semesters, and some repositories we didn't have access to, and some work wasn't marked off, some work was marked off, but we have no idea where it went. So we've been working on organizing that. And there are linker errors that sometimes happen with switching and merging branches, but usually get solved by reconfiguring the project. So for individual responsibilities, so far I've completed separating the class for util and writing 60 tests for it. It's a whopping 2,600 lines of code. And to do, I'm going to pick and separate a new class. Eric has completed separating the manip and wrote tests for manip. I also finished player meta, and we'll also pick and separate a new class. And yeah, thanks for watching.
Thank you.